Hello all and welcome to the CAS project hosted by Ishir Wadhwa and Emanuele Borlandelli regarding the tutorials on CAD softwares. So this will be one of 5 videos regarding Fusion 360, as Fusion 360 is one of the best CAD softwares that there is in the market. So first of all, some of the design factors of Fusion 360 are first of all, we start obviously with sketches. So sketches are the shape of the 3D objects will obtain. Obviously, this is an example. This was my tennis racket that I did for my mathematics internal assessment. So here we created 2 ellipses, but obviously this is not the only options. We can create rectangles, 2-point rectangles, meaning you have to select 2 points, 3 points, and 1 point, 1 point in the center. So for instance, from a center point. Then we also have arcs, polygons, and all types of shapes that can be either selecting 3 points, 2 points, or even 1 point. For instance, the arc, here I have to select 3 points, but obviously it gives me a different shape than an arc with only 2 points. Then we have obviously some tools to fill it. A fillet usually comes in when you're creating your 3D body rather than your sketch, but it's up to you how you prefer it. The trim is when you have an intersection between 2 sketches and you might want only one part to be seen. For example, have this line, and then with this line that intersects, I can trim it, and this is what ends up being what it is. In constraints are usually done when assembling, which I'll talk about later. Then other than that, what happens is obviously we finish the sketch, and it takes a bit obviously because you require 8 gigabytes of RAM to run Fusion 360 properly, especially if you want to do advanced simulations. Then once the sketch was done, I extruded it vertically by something like 10 millimeters or something. But I could have also revolved, meaning having a vertical sketch and turning 360 or whatever angle of rotation on itself. The sweep is basically an excursion in one direction, and then others that are more specific. And here we have a set of pre-made 3D shapes. And finally, we have obviously the planes. Now the planes, so when we start a sketch, there's obviously 3 standard planes, the X, Y, and Z, but you can also offset the plane, meaning you can translate it. You can plane it at an angle. This is especially useful when you have edges. Then you have the tangent plane, which is obviously a tangent to the curve of a curved object. A mid-plane, which is useful when you want to mirror something, and then obviously all the others that are much more specific than the ones. Obviously the edges, you just click the 2 edges, usually of squares, and it comes. Then we have the inspect. That is just for measuring and analyzing certain aspects of your design. But to be honest, most of this what is in inspect is later shown in the simulation section. Moving on, we have an assembly. So in an assembly, what we have is obviously these. You have a joint, and then you obviously have different types of joint. So I'll show what happens now. So obviously this is a wheel that already has 3 joints, bearing, cover, and wheel. And then we can also add one more bearing just by simply inserting it, and should take it some time. Proceed. Then obviously I can change the orientation. In this case, I don't like the orientation, so I have to rotate it by 90 degrees. And I'll just hit OK. When I do this though, I need to oh no, I have it as default, but usually for people that just have installed the Fusion 360, you should click on create new component, because it just makes everything easier, and it makes the assembly much much more effective import words. And obviously I can even import another one, and I'll show in a few seconds how you can actually join. Then here I'll hit proceed. I just need to do 90-degree rotation. So as I said here, this is what happens. New component, not in this case. New component is usually when you have like when you have a body that is not recognized by Fusion body. I would just click on joint. We'll select, for example, this side. We extrude to this side. Obviously, again, see, for example, this is a type, but in my case, I'll show what I mean. It's basically, you usually mirror one side and one face. See, this is what I mean. This is a face, and then I select just this part. And it fits exactly like this. Then obviously I can move it around, but when we see this symbol, it means that it's fixed. Obviously you can have semi-fixed, you can have different types of fixtures, and I'll show this right now. So if I were to click again on shortcut J, click here, and then okay, here we obviously have the different types of how can I change? Oh yeah, we here obviously we have exactly, here we have the type of joint that we want. Here we can revolute, meaning it can turn, it can slide. Here it can this is just for its cylindrical ones. And then obviously here you can offset to a Z plane, and ball means it can rotate in all directions at 360 degrees. This means when it's rigid, it means it does not move. And then obviously, as I said, the same. And then obviously you can regulate the magnitude of the rotation that you want. You just click on OK, and that's your constraint. Finally, the last part of this design section that is very important, it's in sheet metal. In Surface, there's basically the same things that you can find in a sketch, and in tools, you'll just get more information about materials and just in general about different stuff. So first of all, we go to sheet metal rules, which are a quite specific thing for just beginners of fusions. Maybe I'll talk about this in a later video. I'll just click close. So I'll create a new sketch, for instance, on a what was I saying? On an XY plane. I'll just create a 50 by 100. I'll just click finish sketch. Now we have a very important feature that is flange. Now flange has you can do 4 things with flange. With bend, bend, or even what was it called? Bend, or there was basically bend and cover the sheet metal. This is basically done for packaging, so I won't go too much in detail with this, but this is basically just for making like curved objects good. First of all, flange, what it does is that you can also create your body. You can do it symmetrical, but you can also have it one side or another side. New body, you can have a new component. In this case, it's a new body, and you would also click a new component if you were to assemble it, because then it would not assemble. Then we click again on flange. I'll just click both sides, and then here I have the height, so the how tall obviously my curved height is. Then we have an angle that determines the orientation between one surface, the perpendicular surface to the base. I'll just keep it to 90 in this case, and then this is the heat datum. The heat datum basically tells the software from where the height starts. For instance, the interface is taller because the software starts measuring from here to the top. Just click on from here to the top. So I'll just click on. So from here to the top. Whereas if we go on outer face, it's shorter because it goes from the bottom to the top, and so on and so forth. Now the bend position is basically how long is the curve. So for instance, we go on the inside, you see on the outside it's larger. It's basically where the curve starts again. So inside is shorter because it starts from the first edge, whereas yeah, so it's obviously shorter. Whereas if we were to do outside, that would be the outer edge of the initial base. And yeah, then we have flip and others, which I won't go too much in detail with. I'll just hit OK. Another thing we can do is that we can join two areas. So I can click on both sides here, make them join. Which in this case is fine, obviously. I'll just click on OK. And then what else you can also do, what you could also do is from the top you could create a sketch here, select part you want. I'll just create a normal sketch here. Just click on finish sketch, and I'll fetch here, and I'll bring it down. So once I bring it down, you'll see that the fletch creates on its own. Then obviously, what I could also do is that I can move this with the what was the tool actually? No, I'll just click on this. And oh no, you have to do it once the extrusion was done. But anyway, this is one thing. Another thing we could also do is from a left. No. So from say side view exactly. I can also create another sketch here, and then for instance do from here and here. I finish the sketch, and then with the fletch I can just clicking on both edges, it creates obviously another fletch, which is very useful to save up time sometimes and stuff like that. Obviously I can move it, and yeah, so obviously you can move around. Obviously these tools are very important, especially the pan and the zoom in and zoom out. I wouldn't use the free orbit because I mean the home square is very good, very useful. And yeah, this was just one of 5 videos regarding Fusion 360.